Hey, did you hear about this?
We won this thing!
Democrats should listen to the voters.
This happened.
Talking about Brandon.
Brandon administration.
Are you ready for this?
5 11-year-olds.
Kids could start getting shots.
What about this?
The rising cost of inflation.
This is government gone wild.
What about this?
That's what's at stake right now.
Because this is... Welcome in to News and Views with Tom Lamprecht. The stories you've heard and the ones you need to hear.
By fellow global leaders, climate change.
The Build Back Better framework.
Raising taxes.
Socialistic agenda.
There's a big wake-up call.
In Virginia.
My fellow Virginians.
The majority is broken. The rising cost of inflation.
These massive supply chain challenges.
The current pandemic.
It's time that you resign. Created 531,000 jobs.
Your life, your values, your voice. This is News and Views with Tom Lamprecht on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
All right, welcome in. It is News and Views for a Friday. And boy, you talk about on again, off again, reconciliation, infrastructure. Let's vote now. Let's vote then. Oh boy, you need a you need a program and you need a director to tell you what's going on. Fortunately, we have one. Dr. Greg Murphy, Congressman Greg Murphy, is agreed to call in, and he's on the line with us right now. Greg, welcome back to News and Views. I've been texting back and forth with your communications director, Kate Curry. She does a great job, by the way. She does. Trying to get you on the air and figure out when you might have to cut out to go vote. What is the latest? What is Nancy Pelosi? She called for a vote. She said it would be taken today. Originally, it was supposed to be taken, at 8:30 this morning? Is it going to happen today?
Well, Tom, we just voted on what they call the rule, the establishment of the how things are to be voted on, what's required for the vote, and we're going to see. At this point in time, they had. Previously, they had 5 Democrats hold out that wanted to have a simple request, an Office of Budget Management score, a ranking on truly how much the bill is going to cost, because their estimates are flat out lies. And we had 5 Democratic holdouts that said they're not voting on this until we know how much it costs. I mean, what a novel idea that is. Apparently one defected. And I guess, Pelosi just puts all the pressure in the world on these individuals. We pray the others will hold out. And, Tom, there's so much going on. There's so many circles going on. Infrastructure and what infrastructure means. They want the $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill, but only $100 billion of it, $120 billion of it really actually goes for what we believe is true infrastructure.
So basically
10%. Nonsense.
10% goes for
What's
infrastructure. Basically 10%.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. Wow.
And then we look at the quote reconciliation bill, which is a foundational change in the United States of America. It adds over 150 new federal programs to the federal government. Let's just let that sink in. It adds 150 new programs. And what they've done is, again, it's a shell game. They say they've cut the price. The only thing they've cut is the length and duration of the programs. But let's remember, once you put a federal program in place,
exactly,
it's there. It takes literally a strong, overwhelming majority of Congress to get rid of the program because, it's an entitlement thing. And, it's giving illegal immigrants amnesty, 10, 11 million of those. It's giving them $100 billion, and that's with a B, dollars worth of federal benefits. And I won't even talk about the $500,000 that they're wanting to pay the illegal immigrants who came over in 2018 individually.
Is that a part? This
is unconscionable.
Is the $450,000 per illegal immigrant? Is that a part of this bill?
No, No, this is something that was just, or at least we don't know. To be very honest with you, they've not given us full text. You know, they move back and forth. It's moving pieces back and forth of what it's gone on. But to my understanding, at least, you know, it's kind of funny because Biden said, "Oh no," you know, when asked about it by a reporter, "Oh, that's nonsense. You're saying that." But then, you know, the ACLU calls out the Department of Justice and everything, and they're going, "Yeah, that's really what you're doing, President." And so again, as he's been told many times, these are the reporters I need to call on. This is the treadmill I'm supposed to run on, and this is the type I'm supposed to read. Now he's being told what his Department of Justice is doing.
Right. He accidentally called on Peter Doocy, and he asked that question, and he said it was garbage. But if it's not a part of the bill, how does the president, how does Biden, how does the executive branch come up out of thin air and say we're going to hand out checks for $450,000?
Well, I think what's happened is that the trial lawyers have gotten involved, Warren Lawrence, a lot of Democrats, and have said, you know, we're going to take up the case of poor illegal immigrants, people who were separated from their families because they came in illegally in the performance of illegal activity. We're going to take up their case, and I tell you what, we'll settle for, I don't know, $700,000 per person. And then maybe that was negotiated down and whatever. Well, it'll be a negotiated settlement with the Department of Justice for $450,000 per person. So it's not a direct appropriation. They're suing the government for those actions, and only during the Trump administration, not during the Obama administration, not during the the border crisis that we're having now. No, it's only singling out those during the Trump administration. So it doesn't have to be a direct appropriation. It is literally they're suing the federal government to recoup costs.
Well,
the trial lawyers will get their 40 or 50%.
In my civics lessons, I've always known and thought, unless the things have changed, that you could only sue the federal government if they allowed themselves to be sued. So
well, I'm sure they welcome this. Now, I'm not an attorney, Tom. I can only speak from I have to say somewhat of a sterile objective standpoint, but I think this is in cahoots with our trial lawyers of our country who are, as I said, by and large Democrats. This is the most, and I hate to say this, I truly hate to say it, but this is the most anti-American administration the nation has ever seen. They literally care more about outside causes than they do their own American people, as is the same with vaccine mandates, and we could go on and on.
Well, I've got a bunch of questions for you, but let me go back. Are you done voting for today? Is the House done voting?
No,
for
I'm sitting in something called the cloakroom right now, which is a chamber right off which is a room right off the chamber, and we're doing some debate, and they're still waiting for some other members to come vote. So it's amazing. There was a motion to adjourn this morning, and they kept that. It was supposed to be a 15-minute vote. The Democrats kept that vote open longer than any vote has ever been done in the House of Representatives in the history of the country, just to clog up further Republican initiatives to try to put a roadblock to this disastrous bill. Nancy Pelosi, she's not stupid. She's not stupid.
Has anybody, the colleagues on the other side of the aisle, have you noticed any change in attitude or behavior or voting pattern? Of course, you haven't voted a lot since Tuesday, but have you noticed any effect from the shellacking the Democrats got on Tuesday as to the attitude of your colleagues across the aisle?
Yeah, there's basically three effects. One is they just kind of put their head down and just don't worry about it, keep moving forward. The second is those that know they got shellacked and know, especially if they're in a bipartisan district or a very difficult district, they know their time is coming, because even if you're in a D+3 or 4 or 5, you're underwater right now.
Right.
And then we have the crazies. The AOC is that group that thinks the only reason that the shellacking occurred is because we had not passed these socialist policies. And they deny the existence of truth. They deny the existence of reality, and they make up and live in their own fairy wonderland. So they don't think this is any problem whatsoever. It's because they haven't spent the trillions and turned this into a socialist country.
Michael asked me a great question before we went on the air, our producer, and that is there an option such as if the Republicans, because I remember the Democrats were talking about this, I think, in one of the votes for the Supreme Court justice over in the Senate. But if the Republicans didn't show up, could it not be voted on for lack of a quorum?
That is a possibility. That is a possibility, as I understand with the rules. Obviously, with our speaker and everybody else, with our majority leader, we have to talk about that. The problem is we have a few Republicans that plan to vote for this stuff. One of them is the fellow from Alaska that plans to vote for this because there is a lot of stuff in it for states and stuff. Problem is, this is going to bankrupt our country, bankrupt our children, our grandchildren, and there's so many other programs. Again, sometimes we need people to see the forest for the trees. Some not able to do that.
Well, obviously, nobody knows when this actual vote's going to be taken because they're still counting heads. And it's the good news is that's close. The bad news is they'll probably get a vote in. You're in the House, obviously. Everything I hear, though, it sounds like even if the House passes this, the Senate would not. Have you heard anything in D.C. about that?
Yeah, I spoke with Senator Tillis yesterday, and he said that Manchin is holding strong because and Sinema from Arizona, she's holding strong. And so the whole purpose is for them, AOC and her little crazies said they would not vote on infrastructure, the 1.5 infrastructure bill, unless the $5 trillion reconciliation bill was coupled with it. So in other words, they don't want just a piece. They want the whole socialistic transformation of the country. Other folks have said within the Democratic Party they'll just do just the opposite. And so you would have to pass a piece of it to make it over to the other side, the other chamber. And Sinema and Manchin have said point blank they won't accept this to get together as one bill. So Pelosi's just trying to get one bill or the other put through to just get it over to the chamber. Schumer will take it up, and then it'll go into conference or one way or the other. So we just have to keep fighting, Tom. This is for our heart and soul of our country. This is the most transformative change, really, since the Great Society programs. And you look at what the Great Society programs have done to our society.
Right.
They've destroyed the American family.
Yes. They've
created dependence upon the government, the likes of which we have never seen and will never be able to undo before. It's just they could have done some good things back then, but again, as usual, the Democrats don't think twice about what they're doing, and they don't understand the consequences and ramifications of their actions.
Let me change gears with you a little bit, and let's talk about these vaccine mandates. As of, I think it's January the 4th, any businesses, according to this new executive order that is basically being pushed through OSHA, it sounds like, Congress, it sounds like, has to vote on the penalties, which I guess is in the reconciliation package, or is it in the infrastructure package?
Tom, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. To be honest with you, I don't know exactly about that.
And it's not because you're not studying it; it's because it's in constant flux. But anyway, Congress.
Well, there's over 2,000 pages of that is in constant flux. At one point, it's 1,700 pages. It's 2,800 pages. We don't know what's going on.
But Congress has to.
And they're purposely doing that.
Yeah. And what malfeasance? I mean, what total malfeasance? But anyway, Congress has to vote on the penalties, but Biden can indiscriminately decide via an executive mandate that OSHA has the power to declare that now through OSHA you're going to have your businesses vaccinated or tested on a weekly basis.
Well, now that the actual rule has come out, I believe 17 Republican states today were going to sue. Because up to heretofore, there wasn't anything. It was just talk. He had said this, that, and the other stuff, and I think he just read off his teleprompter what he was going to do. It wasn't until, now that the actual ruling was going to come forth through. And, if you just think about it just for a second, again, they don't think about actions and consequences. Tom, I've been very clear. I want people vaccinated. I think it's safe and effective. We can have a whole different discussion about the pediatric vaccine. But what you're going to do is, in several different forms, We're having such a hard time with the trucking industry getting things moved. Where you're
Yeah.
going to kick 20% of truckers out. They're never around anybody. They're in their truck.
Right.
They sleep in their truck. They unload. They go on. They're always outside. You're going to do the same thing in our military. You're going to further degrade our military after the debacle in Afghanistan, after the debacle of hearing that China has a hypersonic missile that we never knew anything about. How embarrassing. And if it can go on and on and on. And what it's going to do, you get kicked out of the military, you get a dishonorable discharge. You can hardly ever get a job again. So we're going to create poverty, one of what they call the determinants, the social determinants of health. Things that determine how healthy you are is poverty. And that throws people into poor health, poor welfare, and it's going to lead to more death and destruction. And they just simply don't get that. They don't get it.
Do they not get it, or do they get it and that's what they want? That's the big question.
No, I honestly, I don't think they get it. I don't think they understand the consequences of their actions. On these particular fronts, yeah. And some of the other ones, yeah, I think they understand what they do. I mean, Pelosi, as I said, she's not dumb. She's very smart. But I don't think the AOCs and the other ones of the world understand the ramifications of their actions. They truly do not.
How bad does it have to get, Congressman, before states say you can go to where we're not following it? I mean, we've got Josh Dobson is our labor secretary here in North Carolina. He wrote a letter yesterday basically saying, wait a minute, this mandate I don't like. And I think he's getting a lot of emails into his office, from folks that just say, please do not enforce this mandate. Now, I realize that what the federal government does is they tie all kinds of goodies threatening states that you're not going to get these goodies if you don't follow what we tell you to do. But how far is it going to be before some of these states just say you can go to where, but we're not going to enforce what you were talking about?
Well, look what happened Tuesday night, Tom.
Yeah.
Look what happened Tuesday night. People are finally, we talk about being woke. I think the real America is now waking up. And you're going to see small businesses that are going out of business. You're going to see things go really bad for this administration. Here's one thing that I'm going to say. I'm just going to predict. We looked at the mama bears that got really very, very upset in Virginia, and that's what changed the vote.
Yes.
When the governor said, you don't have any choice to what we teach your children.
Right.
Wait till this comes down where these vaccines are mandated for children. Wait till that happens, because California is going to push it. Now you're going to see not only Republicans say no, not only independents say no, but you're going to have Democratic mothers say no, because that's their kid. And, if this was something that was affecting children and killing children right and left, I would be leading the charge. But this disease in children is the lethality is infinitesimally small compared to adults. It does kill kids. It has killed some children, without a doubt. But most of those, the vast majority, were immunocompromised, transplant patients, or cancer patients. And yes, those kids should get vaccinated by all means. But your average child, the statistics, the science does not demonstrate that that's appropriate. And, Dr. Eric Rubin, I will say this, on the FDA, he's the editor-in-chief of the New England Journal, made what I believe is really the most dangerous statement I've ever heard in medicine, that we basically have to use the vaccine on kids to determine its safety. That goes just in line with Pelosi's. Yeah.
That is Frankenstein.
Well, I wrote him a letter this week with several others asking him to either clarify it, retract it, or resign. Really, I'm serious. He needs, he doesn't need to resign. Please clarify that statement, because now what you're going to do is you're going to make people who are vaccine hesitant even more hardened in their belief not to get vaccinated. So,
and on top of that, I mean, you look and I don't know, I can't verify these numbers, but Ron Johnson had his forum earlier this week, and in that forum, he was comparing deaths from the flu vaccination as compared to deaths from the COVID vaccination. And, of course, when you add it to the youth, the chances of them having heart issues seems like the frequency of that is much higher. But the number of deaths from this vaccination as compared to a flu vaccine is significantly higher. And
well,
why would you go there when it's not an issue with the kids, as you say?
Yeah, and that's the thing I say with the kids. The other stuff about the adults and the deaths and the vaccinations, I look at our institution. I talk to guys at Vidant all the time, and I say, how many people have come in this hospital because of being vaccinated? And I last asked that question to our hospital president, our hospital medical officer, our chief medical officer about 3 or 4 months ago, and the number was zero. Zero. So I'm not so sure I go along with that mantra that this vaccine is killing people. I just don't buy that. However, we do know it can have side effects. It can cause something called Guillain-Barré syndrome. In younger individuals, especially men, it has caused myocarditis. And those are true. There are side effects with any medicine. I mean, heck, aspirin can have side effects.
Right.
And so I've always gone back to saying this should be between a doctor and a patient, not between the government and the citizen. We're not going to get herd immunity just because of the way this thing mutates, and the rest, 2/3 of the world still isn't vaccinated. So literally, we're at the point we have some good therapeutics, some good medicines coming out. I think we actually have some medicines that have been out for quite a while. We can repurpose. But the idea that the vaccine is literally the only way to go for every individual in the country is, in my opinion, not following the science, not smart, and is a governmental overreach.
Hey, we've got to let you run, but I do want to ask you, have you had a chance to look at the new redistricting maps? And you currently represent NC3. It looks like your new district is going to be called NC1. And it looks like...
Yeah, we'll be the fighting first.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It looks not significantly different, but it's pretty large. You go up to the Virginia line and all the way down into Onslow County.
Well, I do that now. What significant changes are, I will gain Gates County up in the northeast corner. I lose Duplin County. I will gain pretty much the rest of Pitt County, except a little small, I think, smidgen of it up there just to create numbers for G.K. Butterfield. But inexplicably, and I'm not happy with it, to be very honest with you, I lose a good portion of Onslow County. And I'm, as best I can, I sent that through the channels. We're not supposed to have anything to do with this. I sent that through the channels that I was not happy with that. You don't split the Marines.
Right.
Especially we split the Marine base, it looks like. I haven't been given the full precinct details. All in all, I still have the coast and all the other stuff, and I'm very proud to represent that. I just wish they had not messed up Onslow County. That's all.
Well, I am happy because you are now my representative. I can actually go and cast my vote.
That's great.
Yeah, prior to this, I was over in Mr. Butterfield's district, so that's good news for the Lamprecht family.
Well, they're going to start suing on Monday on this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a matter of time. So.
Yeah, it'll be held up in the courts for as long as they love chaos. They love anarchy. They love chaos, and it's evident in the bills they're passing and the way they conduct their business. And as you said,
all right, let's think.
The great news of this, the good news of all this, is what happened on Tuesday. People are sick of it.
Yeah. I will tell you this, to think about the infrastructure, all this new infrastructure, all these new roads, this, that, and the other stuff. Think about now, on the other side of the coin, what's going to happen. We're never going to build so many of these roads. We're never going to build so many of these bridges and other things. Why? Because the environmentalists will come up and say, no, you can't put this highway here because of this little snail.
Yeah.
So we'll have to argue in court for 25 years on these things. So, it's just the extreme chaos and lack of thoughtfulness and forward thinking of some of our Democratic colleagues.
Yep. Congressman Greg Murphy, thank you so much, Greg, for checking in with us, and keep up the good fight. And I know you got to be weary, but stay strong, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll stay strong. We'll keep fighting.
There you go. Greg Murphy calling in from D.C. as Nancy Pelosi gets ready to call for a vote on how they will proceed. It doesn't sound like there's going to be a vote on reconciliation or infrastructure today. Boy, pray for men like Greg that he has the strength to carry on. We've got to take a time out. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We're on location at Fabric and Home Furnishings, and I'm back with my friend Lisa Pendry. And Lisa's been telling me about all the great renovations that have been going on here in the store, and I've been looking around, and it looks fantastic. Tell us what you've done here.
Well, we've knocked some walls down, we've painted, we've added some new vendors, lots of new exciting things going on. So we're making room for everybody to get what they need to transform their homes.
Looks fantastic in here. Last time we talked, you were saying that you were able to deliver a lot faster than most other furniture stores. Is that still the case?
It is. It's changed a little bit, but we're still looking at around 8 to 10 week delivery, and we do sell our floor samples right off the floor.
All right, we always say that Fabric and Home Furnishings is more than just a fabric store, so tell us what the more is all about. What when people come in, what should they expect?
Well, we love to get to know our customers. I have the best crew I've ever had, and everybody on my team is an interior designer. So we offer in-home design service, which we always have, but now they can each come out to your home after they work with you in here, figure out what's going on in your residence or your commercial property to pull it together and help you make everything beautiful.
You got great folks here.
I do.
I can tell you, I haven't gotten to know them. It's like a family when you come in here, and everybody gets along well, and you can tell that these guys and gals really know what they're talking about when it comes to interior design.
They do, and that's really what makes us different. We offer complete in-home design service. We don't charge a by-the-hour fee. It's a flat one-time fee. We work with you in here, in your home, in your business, and help pull everything together.
All right, it's more than just a fabric store. Fabric and Home Furnishings in Arlington Village. Come see this lady. She's fantastic. Fabric and Home Furnishings. Come see the renovations here in Arlington Village. And thank you for the visit today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right, you got to come see what they've done in the store here on Arlington Boulevard in Arlington Village.
I'm a bit confused.
Cutting through the confusion.
Why are they forcing the vaccine on people at all?
News and views.
Should I get it? Should I not get it?
To bring you clarity and certainty.
I'm tired of it. So I'm losing trust in all of it.
Now back to News and Views on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
Welcome back in. Take a quick look at your weather forecast for this weekend. A chance of showers tomorrow. Clear tonight, but cold, low around 41. Doesn't look like we're going to get any frost this weekend, not yet. Tomorrow, chance of showers mainly in the afternoon, high near 61. Chance of rain is 40%. Tomorrow night, chance of rain continues, 60%, low around 49. Sunday, again, a chance of showers, 40% chance of showers with a high near 60. And Sunday night, partly cloudy, low around 43. So all in all, not as rainy as they were talking about earlier today. So the chance of rain is waning. That's good. Taking a look at, well, let's have a word from our friends at Ironwood Golf and Country Club. They sponsored our weather, and they have been voted best golf course in Greenville 2 years in a row now. They boast an 18-hole Lee Trevino design course, full-service dining, an outdoor pool, tennis, and more. Their newly renovated clubhouse, and it's gorgeous from top to bottom. They've redone it. Every speck, every square inch has been redone. It is gorgeous. And they can host your Christmas party. Give them a call, 252-752-4653. If it's just family and friends or your business, you want to have a Christmas party, come out and have it at Ironwood Golf and Country Club. Also, ask about gift certificates for this Christmas for golf lessons and rounds of golf. Be a part of the best. Ironwood Golf and Country Club, 252-752-4653. Did you hear about Republican Lauren Boebert? She's in the House from Colorado. Remember, what was it, a couple of months ago, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She wore that dress to, what was the event that she wore it to? Some high-priced event up in New York, and she wore a dress that said "Tax the Rich." Lauren Boebert was at an event last night with Donald Trump. Her dress said, "Let's go, Brandon." Love it. Family and friends and former colleagues gathered today at the Washington National Cathedral to honor Colin Powell. He passed away, last week, I guess it was, and a number of dignitaries were there, including George W. Bush, Barack Obama, former Secretary of State James Baker, Condoleezza Rice, Hillary Clinton, former Defense Secretary Robert Gates, and the current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, as well as other service chiefs. This is bizarre. I mean, we were talking about this with just the lack of common sense amongst the Democrats. I asked Greg Murphy, has there been much change in attitude since Tuesday's election? And he said some have. Newsbusters is reporting the terrible election results for Democrats. Some of the Democrats are saying it's because we're not getting the media coverage. Greg Sargent of the Washington Post tweeted this lame summary from the former Obama aide, Dan Pfeiffer. Quote, Republicans have a massive communication advantage. Glenn Youngkin used the right-wing media to communicate his MAGA credentials to the base without offending independents and Trump's skeptical Republicans. So it's because the Democrats didn't have the media on their side. Because of programs like News and Views and other conservative programs, the Republicans are just taking off. Thank you. Thank you for giving us so much credit. But heaven forbid, now, and we got Fox News, right? Well, Fox News is, sometimes they're on the right side of the issue. Y'all have CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, the Washington Post, the New York Times, a plethora of other outlets and publications, but the media is not on your side. Wow. Thank you for that. By the way, along with that, did you see last night, and it made the news earlier this morning, Joe Manchin trying to get to his car in his parking garage to go from his houseboat to the office. Happened yesterday, Thursday. A number of, quote, climate progressives, tree huggers, wouldn't let him get to his car. I mean, they were smothering the guy. He finally, with the help of security, got into his car. Then all these climate tree huggers surrounded his car, wouldn't let him pull out. Finally, a number of security guards pushed them aside so that he could leave and go down to the Senate office building where he works. Isn't it interesting, though? And ABC, CBS, NBC spent a total of 14 seconds reporting on it. That was this morning, 14 seconds on Today, the Today NBC show. Last night, nothing. ABC, nothing. CBS, nothing. NBC last night, nothing. Just today on NBC this morning, 14 seconds. That was it. Isn't it interesting, though, that when conservative groups protest, when they protested on January the 6th, the conservatives protest, it's a life-threatening insurrection. Makes headlines for weeks. When liberals threaten, genuine threaten, it's merely a protest. Nothing to see here, according to the mainstream media. And the Democrats say they don't have the media behind them? Listen, if you have seen any of the video of these climate nuts, they are clearly all over Joe Manchin and his car. Remember when Rand Paul and his wife were coming back from the White House in the summer of 2020 when Donald Trump had accepted the nomination of his party. And he literally said the only reason they survived that after Antifa had surrounded them and threatened them, the only reason they survived that, he said, was because of the police. Well, when that happens, or when Joe Manchin is accosted, where are the cries that this is an insurrection? January 6th, the only person that was, did you see any, I have not seen any video, and maybe it's out there, but I haven't seen it, where a member of the House or the Senate was even within arm's length of anybody that came into the Capitol. And yet, Rand Paul can literally fear for his life with people having their hands on he and his wife. Same thing with Joe Manchin. Where's the media talking about how this is the worst thing since 9/11, worse than the Civil War? It's unbelievable. Dan Krashenko. I'm sorry, Dan Krashenko. Well, that's his last name, Dan Krashenko. Igor Danchenko, I guess how you pronounce it. The Russian who was arrested. He has been indicted on the whole deal with lying to the FBI. Special Counsel John Durham's probe into the origins of the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane investigation, which was there to undermine the Donald Trump campaign, made big news if you're listening to conservative news outlets yesterday. Again, NBC, ABC, CBS, not 1 second of coverage on this story, of those three, of the big three, not 1 second. And the liberals say that they don't have any media coverage. By the way, speaking of that, this is bizarre. So MSNBC did cover that last night. That nice young man, Rachel Maddow. Guess who she had on to try to debunk the John Durham narrative? John Durham has been called by both sides. Now, apparently his personal politics leans a little bit to the left. But Republicans and Democrats have both said of John Durham, he does his job without any partisan attitudes. He investigates and he lets the folks know what he finds out. So Rachel Maddow brings in a quote expert to try to debunk the whole John Durham investigation. Guess who she brings in? Peter Strzok. Peter Strzok. Are you kidding me? These people belong in the loony bin. Talk about fake news. Peter Strzok, the guy who got canned because he broke every rule in the book at the FBI for an FBI agent. He was fooling around with a married guy, fooling around with another agent, lying to Congress. This is who you bring in. The guy has zero credibility. And Rachel Maddow brings him in as the expert to disprove and to debunk the John Durham investigation. He said, the indictment makes a point to note that the FBI was unable to corroborate Steele's reporting, Strzok claims. But at the same time, it neglects to mention that we weren't able to disprove it either. The one-sided portrayal of the facts that this is somehow nonsense is concerning. Here's the point, Strzok. You weren't able to disprove it. You didn't try to disprove it. You didn't even attempt to disprove it. But we do have evidence that you personally wanted to use it as a hammer to destroy the Trump campaign, and when that didn't work, you used the narrative to discredit the Trump presidency. And this is who that nice young man, Rachel Maddow, brings in to try to disprove the John Durham narrative. Unbelievable. We got to take another time out. Stay with us.
Your trade is in high demand. That means your trade-in value has never been hotter. Get to Greenville Toyota now. We'll pay more for your trade than ever before. Get cash on the spot, even if you don't buy from us. At Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
To require their workforces are fully vaccinated.
Democrats call it.
The right decision
Was necessary. It's not about freedom.
Republicans call it.
It's exactly about freedom.
This unlawful mandate.
Condescending to Americans.
What happens next happens here with Tom and Benny on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
So Bloomberg host Tom Keene was interviewing earlier today Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm. He was asking her about the fact that energy costs are going up. I mean, significantly going up. People that are going to try to heat their houses this winter, it's going to cost a whole lot more. People filling up their cars. In fact, I just filled up my Highlander the other day. First time, I think since I've owned that Highlander, that it cost me $60 to fill it up. Going back just 9 months ago, to fill up when it was dead empty was about $40. So it's gone up 50% since Biden's taken office. He was asking about the cost of gasoline. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm today laughed at a question about boosting America's domestic oil production, calling it hilarious. Tom Keene noted America's rising gas prices and asked the Energy Secretary, what is the Granholm plan to increase oil production in America? Now, you know from last weekend, Joe Biden asked the Russians and Saudi Arabia, would you please increase oil production and ship it to us, that we'd have to pay for it to them, not exactly our best friends. They'd make money off it. And they said, no. So Tom Keene says, America oil production. Granholm immediately began laughing. That is hilarious, she said. Would that I had a magic wand on this. As you know, of course, oil is a global market. It is controlled by a cartel. That cartel is called OPEC. And they made a decision yesterday that they were not going to increase beyond what they had already planned. Well, he didn't ask about OPEC. He asked about American domestic supply. And how is it that Donald Trump, a year ago, we were pumping all kinds of oil. Donald Trump was leasing out federal land to oil companies, encouraging fracking, working on the XL pipeline. Michael and I were talking before the show. You know what Grant Holt could have said? I will do everything I can possibly do to restart the XL pipeline. Just say that. You know what would happen? If Biden wants OPEC to deliver more oil, he needs to at least feign the idea that we're going to go back and we're going to be pumping so much oil, we will be an exporter. They did this before. When the oil came way, way down, it was because Donald Trump was pushing the idea that we were going to explore, we were going to pump, we were going to dig, we were going to drill, we were going to put in pipelines, and he did. And the price of oil came way down. And what does this individual do? I'm trying to keep it PG here. She laughs. Oh, I can't do anything. She acts like there is no oil in America to be had. Unbelievable. You know, the one thing that I'm not sure when talking with Greg Murphy, do they not get it, or are they trying to ruin the United States? Now, he said on some things, he says that they probably are trying to ruin our country. I mean, some of them are imbeciles. Some of them are just naive idiots that go along. But I think the people at the top, they know what they're doing is destructive to this country, and that's what they want. We'll be right back.
Break the chain. Eat local. Tiebreakers.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
My name is Dr. Neeti Armistead, Chief Medical Officer for Vidant Health. The following simple steps will help keep you and your community safe. Stay home as much as possible, wear a mask when out in public, avoid large gatherings, practice social distancing, and wash hands often. It's also important not to delay needed care. Vidant has taken important steps to provide you and your family with a safe environment. Learn more about COVID-19 and Vidant's response. Call 252-847-8000 or visit vidanthealth.com/COVID-19.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Pork packing. What a terrible idea.
We're not packing it, we're unpacking it. Vice President Harris, who has yet to actually travel to the border?
Not today.
And they need to come down here right now.
Disperse from the area. What's unfolding in Minnesota?
We are on fire.
Infrastructure bill.
This is a massive welfare spending program.
Vaccines.
What's happening in the pandemic?
Clear information. It's news.
What happens next happens here on Talk 96.3 and 103.7.
So we all know that Florida is a bellwether state. What happens in Florida oftentimes, sort of like Ohio. If you win Florida, it's a significant number of electoral college votes and a very important state. When Ron DeSantis ran against Andrew Gillum in 2018, he won by 40,000 votes. Maybe this is significant that this comes out just a couple of days after we saw what happened on Tuesday. Politico is reporting today that the Democratic Governors Association has no plans to give any significant financial help to Florida Democrats as they seek to unseat Ron DeSantis in 2022. That comes up next year. Hard to believe it's been 4 years. But this is huge. And maybe this is a reflection on the fact that the Democrats don't have any money in their coffers. But they basically are conceding Florida. They're saying, if you're going to beat Ron DeSantis, folks, you're on your own. Don't look to us to help you out. But you know what? I mean, that is huge because if we can keep Florida in the Republican column, not only for the governorship and, you know, continue to bring in members of the House, but that might make a huge difference when it comes to 2024 and the presidential election. By the way, speaking of the presidential election, I told you earlier in this week that Adam Kinzinger, the anti-Trumper, he's announced that he's not going to run for re-election. However, he came out today and is speculating that maybe he will run for the presidency in 2024. We needed to finish the program on a high note, on a laugh. Adam, you gave it to us. Good luck with that, buddy. Hey, listen, have a great weekend. We'll do it again on Monday. See you at 5. Bye-bye, everybody.